Hey guys, Jeremy here. Just want to say before we get started, Bobby was working with a new microphone this episode, and this is our first time back in 4, 5, 6 months. So you'll see there are a couple spots where his sound dips out. Actually, it happens pretty frequently. We should have that ironed out by our next episode. So please listen and enjoy. Try to ignore any technical errors because I did very little editing and didn't worry a whole lot about it. Just wanted to get an episode up and kind of get the ring rust off. And give us a listen. This is season 4, episode 1, and we're fucking stoked to be back. We'll see you guys in a week. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Bell to Bell without Bobby Blaze. I am your host, Professor Jeremy.
I don't know what to say. Tell him you're Batman. What the fuck? What the fuck? Is this the Professor?
Yes, it is.
This is Bobby motherfucking Blaze, and we just got back to town, baby. What do you mean about Bobby Blaze?
Well, I kind of figured I was just going to restart the show and, see what happened. I did buy a puppet, a little Bobby Blaze, but I couldn't quite get your voice right. So I figured I was just going to do it solo. So I'm actually glad you're here because I don't know how to do a show by myself.
Well, I'm sure you could do one by yourself, and I'm sure you'd do it great because that's why you're the professor. But I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad we're back together because didn't have the intention of leaving things the way they were, and that's what today's podcast is going to kind of be about, right?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. We just kind of talk about what's been going on. Hey, wrestling fans, we're glad to have you back, and we're glad to be back. We got some really neat stuff planned out, and we'll talk more about that. But you want to just kind of start off and tell us what's going on, kind of behind the scenes, Jeremy, and then I'll tell you kind of what happened to me as to why. Mostly, the podcast just kind of stopped abruptly like it did, and we'll go from there.
Well, I mean, a big part of it, I don't think I ever hit anything. As I had a shit 18 months. My dad died. I lost my job. I had a heart attack, and my wife all left me within 13 months. So
right.
I was spent a year almost, mostly drunk. So that made doing the show pretty hard to do because I wasn't always on point or, able to get my shit together and do it. Then when you add on top of that, basically the show's the three of us, me, you, and Tex.
Yes.
And the world has gone to shit. Everybody's been having problems. Tex has had a fucked up couple months. But,
yeah.
We'll wait for him to come back to talk about that.
Right. I won't give Tex a bit. Yeah, that was some things that was happening right around that same time. I know you was going through some things. You had a rough there, man. And there was times on our times that we couldn't get together during the weekend. And if we didn't get together during the weekend, more than likely we weren't getting together due to the time difference in the evenings during the weekday. So that was the time that we wasn't going to be able to record. And then right around the time, and again, we're going to text a big part of this, and he's going to be back on hopefully some good news coming up about what's taking place with him. But then also I had a big after the last time we recorded, I think it was in the very first one of this year in January, before the world did go to hell in a handbasket. I had a health scare, man, and tell you what happened to me, and that's why we had to stop recording too. I'm all good now, and I'm not asking for no pity party, nothing like that, so don't think that. But man, I started getting like a sore throat. Something was bothering my throat. And as you know, I like to drink me a cold beer. And sometimes if that's one of the reasons Jeremy and I didn't get together today, because by the time he's getting off work, I'm already sunk about 6 in, and then it's time for him probably to have a couple or whatever. Too late to record that or whatever. But after we recorded that last show, I started really feeling funny with my voice, like I was having trouble talking and stuff. Anyway, I had a couple beers, and I was like, man, that didn't go down good. And that was on a Sunday. Come Monday, I took a shower, and I drank a beer and was getting ready to eat, and I was like, damn, something's not right. So anyway, long story short, week, you know something's wrong when you can't drink a cold beer or even eat a hamburger, you know.
Right.
I was just like, something's not right here. But I think, well, okay, I've just got a sore throat. Go down and get a shot in the hip, you know, a penicillin or whatever, and get a Z-Pack, and they'll send you home. And so I went to the emergency room. Like an idiot, I drove myself down there, not able to breathe. By this point, I really should have called an ambulance. And I'm not trying to be a hero or anything. I panicked, really. And off a couple of times, but it was midnight, and I got a clear shot to the hospital. It's a couple miles away, and it got me in. And fuck, they was ready to trach me, man. I didn't know that at the time. They had the crash card out and all that. But of course, when you can't breathe, your heart rate goes up, so you think you're having a heart attack. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, what I thought was going to be a shot in the hip, you know, pass home and take care of yourself, and you know, don't have a beer for a couple of days. I don't know. And they ended up keeping me about 5 or 6 days. I had acute epiglottis infection in my throat. Oh, yeah, I was in ICU for precautionary. I did feel like I was in a good place at a good time, because if something did happen, you know, I was in the right place. I was like, I don't need to be here. I don't need to be here, because I was freaking out about being in ICU, because sometimes when you go there, you just don't come out. And I was like, you know, I'm like, fuck, no one's getting out of here alive. Today is my day, you know. Come to find out, I asked that doctor, the specialist that come in, and he said, yeah, he said, it's just bad luck, just bad luck. That's how you got it. Cause I was like, did I get something to gym? Did I, you know, is it something I caught off of drinking, you know, from a fountain? What the hell, you know, this before all this COVID stuff. Yeah. So anyway, when, like I said, so they did the EKG and echo. Well, then they ended up keeping me. I was just telling you off the air there, something, the heart cath done, all good, thankfully. And I stayed on some antibiotics and on some, they put me on a steroid, and I stayed there. And then clean yourself off of both of those once you're released. And so, man, and they did all these nasal, they did flu tests. I can't say they did a COVID test, because that wasn't out yet. Mm-hmm. But what happened was, I couldn't really talk, and where I usually walk, as my exercise, I walk or stop by the gym and try to do something, ride a bike, whatever. I was zapped for about 45 days. I ran into a nurse that was the cardiologist nurse, and she had told me, you know, it takes about a week, you know, 5 to 7 days for every day you're in there. And then, of course, I'd seen my regular doctor during the course of this time. He said, it's not you. He said, man, for a day you're in there, it's like a week, you know. So it all added up. So right around day 40, you know, 40, 41, 42, I started going out and walking a little bit more, to where I could walk about 10 minutes at a time. Well, the next thing you know, in Kentucky, in the middle of March, they start down. They shut the park down March the 13th that weekend. And, you know, we kind of got ahead of everything, I guess, as far as the governor here shutting things down. So I was just able to just now getting back to where I felt like I could get out and walk, and then had nowhere to go because the gym shut down, the parks were shut down. And so now I've gained 10 pounds because I stayed in during the COVID for the most part. I got in front of my house and walked, but gyms and the parks opened back up here a couple of weeks ago, but that's kind of what happened. I just texted Jeremy, and the only people I told was I told Tex and Jeremy I'm in the hospital via text on Twitter. I didn't tell them what was on there. I just said sore throat. I had to go to several different units in the hospital, and I threw a big towel over my head and blanketed up because I didn't want people to recognize me, because it's a small town, it's a big hospital, but I got out and I was like, oh shit, these people see me getting pushed through a hospital at these different sections, you know, on the campus there in a wheelchair. Next thing you know, you're fucking dead. So I saw a couple people, and I said, those are exact people that I know from Facebook and this and that. And I'm like, you know, and I called my 2 boys. My brother, he was the only one that knew, and my nurse Jackie, she's my girl. She took care of me, so they knew. But when them people started seeing me, I was like, oh fuck, I don't want me to be out there, you know, I'm dying or something. So I wanted to hear it from me, not anyone else, or especially if something was posted, which, you know, I'm not on Facebook, so I don't know if it was posted by several people that saw me. But I just said, sore throat. And I just tell the nurse, keep pushing, you know, get the fuck out of here, whatever. But anyway, I told my two sons and my daughter-in-law, the night before the surgeries and stuff like that. So everything's good. But of course, once I got out, again, I still wasn't ready to talk and have the energy to do a podcast. Like I said, Tex had some things going up. We had 18 months in, and Jeremy and I had talked about that before. That was our goal. Let's see what happens. Mm-hmm. And it was just all kind of the perfect storm to end the podcast. I woke up the one morning that you posted a 6-minute good night or goodbye one.
Yeah.
It was really sad. It really was. And I did miss talking to you, even though we texted and stuff. And the main thing I wrote several people, as you know, I'm on Twitter at Bobby Blaze 744. Jeremy's at the Geekish Cast. That's usually the best way to get a hold of me. Several people, there was no heat. There's nothing, Texas got some things going on. I've had some things going on, and Jeremy's been really busy. I said, no one left with any heat. I even got to be, I did a couple guest spots on Booking the Territory for Mike and Doc. I filled in for Harper a couple times. And I let the good fans over there know that, listen to both podcasts, there was never any heat. Some people took it that, we just kind of abruptly stopped doing the podcast and something went wrong. Nothing like that went wrong. It's just that basically, as 2020 has been, every fucking thing went wrong.
I was going to say,
but at the right time for our podcast.
A lot of shit went wrong. It's not that nothing went wrong. A lot of shit went wrong, but nothing went wrong between us.
Right, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. That's why you're the fucking professor, yes. So, yeah, but that's kind of what happened, man. And it's just, is it 2021 yet or what?
I got to tell you, Bobby, I'm not looking forward to COVID-20 at this fucking rate. COVID-19's been so goddamn bad.
I hear you, man. And, we got these, this time we got some things planned out. This podcast here, we kind of want to check out with everyone. Our next podcast on episode 2, I'll go ahead and tease it, Jeremy, if you don't care. We're going to talk about the COVID a little bit more in detail because if you don't know what the fuck's going on, you've been staying home maybe and minding your own business. That's the best thing you could have been doing. But we want to talk about. We talked to a couple of independent wrestlers, some indie guys, and have some voiceovers they mailed in, have some readings that they sent in. If you're out there listening, if you're an indie wrestler, you want to share a story, go ahead and send one to the Twitter at Bell to Bell Blaze, or send Jeremy or myself one at our Twitter accounts, and we'll be glad to share how the COVID did affect you as an independent wrestler. We've got about 3 or 4 of those lined up. How it affected some of the guys we know on the independent circuits. And then, of course, watching, without the crowds and this and that. Again, that's going to be our next episode. But I just kind of want to tease that out there.
Yeah.
I know Jeremy wanted to mention something, too. The Anchor, Jeremy. You want to talk about that with the voicemails and stuff? Something new you got going for us?
Yeah. So, all right. So when I discovered that the show, we weren't going to be making any new episodes or, whatever, I had to quickly make a decision about hosting. And you and I had talked about this host before. They're called Anchor.fm, Anchor FM. And they actually have free hosting plans. So I went ahead and moved our show over to them. Well, I just planned for it to live there. I didn't expect us to do anything with it again. So after, who was this? Was it Chad? Yeah, after Chad dropped the idea on Twitter about us getting back together, and then I texted you within 5 minutes of seeing that, I think.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. I jumped onto Anchor. I can't remember if it was right then or that night when I got home, and started looking through the thing. And so, guys, I'm not planning how I was going to say this. Basically, go to anchor.fm/bell-to-bell-blaze. You can get a listing of all of our episodes right there. But one of the things I thought was really cool is that along the top, there is a button there where you can send us a voicemail message. So I don't know if you can do it directly through the website or if you need their app, but if you got something you want to say to us and don't have another way to get it to us, you can go directly to anchor.fm/bell-to-bell-blaze, pop up there, hit that message button, and leave us a voicemail, and then it's easy for us to even incorporate it into the show if we think we need to play it so we can have it in context. Then one of the other things is, while you're there, if you want to donate to the show, there's an easy way to do that. Basically, it has a 99 cent a month, a $4.99 a month, and a $9.99 a month option. Instead of going through Patreon, it's offered right there through Anchor. So if you want to help out, you can jump up there and do that. But more importantly, if you got something to say, You can hit us on Twitter, and Bobby gave out the addresses earlier, or you can go right there to Anchor and leave us a voicemail.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And one thing I liked about it, Jeremy and I have always tried to keep this podcast free. You know, we done a GoFundMe, and we had some kindness offers here and there, and we, you know, out of pocket to pay hosting fees in the past and stuff. And I love the voicemail feature, but also when he said just to, you know, even for like 99 cents or to $5.99 or $4.99 or something, I thought someone, you know, may want to do that. And so if they do it, that's great. We'd appreciate it. You know, you don't make a lot of money off the podcast, but we weren't looking to make a lot of money. We were looking to have some good fun, and we done a lot of good top tens, and we had a lot of good fun with the podcast. So that's kind of what we hope to do with the next, you know, we've already got 8 podcasts planned for season. This is going to be season 4. Mm-hmm. This is episode 1. And then we've got another 7 planned. If you want to help the podcast another way, you can go to, you know, we're at the Bell to Bell Blaze podcast. You can purchase one of my books. I'm not going to go in big rants about the books because I want to get to some of these shout outs, Jeremy, about the kindness from some of these friends that's, you know, last couple of years now. But if you use tinyurl.com, Blaze Book 1, you can purchase Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots Will Travel. If you use tinyurl.com /Blaze Book 2, you can get, that's the link to I Kicked Out on 2, the educational wrestler. That'll help pay a little bit, you know, just we get a little bit kickback from the program, and we appreciate that very much. You just basically going to Amazon and you're purchasing it. With that said, Jeremy, while I was in the hospital, they had to do a little manscaping down there, you know, and so, man, it felt pretty good once I got out. That when they shaved me, you know, down below the waist, and it was really nice and smooth, and I kind of liked it. So, and I went and got me a Manscaped, and we're not sponsored by Manscaped yet. We hope to, but we have a tiny URL that the show can get some kickback off Amazon. Again, Jeremy, I'm telling you, I purchased one. I shaved my chest, I've shaved the back of my neck, and I've shaved my balls. Got it about 2 weeks ago. I'm really pleased with it. But if you go to tinyurl.com, B2B Manscaped. Yeah, it could be B, number 2B, or BTOB, Manscaped, and use that tiny URL. And the show, again, will get a little kickback. And I'm telling you, I know the professor was talking about getting one. I know my brother's talking about getting one. I finally broke down and got one, like I said, about 2 weeks ago, and I used it, and I'm real happy with it. I think your balls will thank you, and especially in the summertime.
Well, I think your lady friend or your intimate partner of whatever persuasion will thank you as well.
Yes.
I mean, you know, Bobby, I'm fairly heavily tattooed. And so I already shave, you know, big chunks of my body, but the other day I discovered I've got a couple gray chest hairs, and that shit's got to go, man. So
all right, well, you just manscaped right off of there, man. Again, go to tinyurl.com /2B Manscaped, and the show will get a little bit of kickback out of that. We'd appreciate that very much. With that said, I would like to give a couple shout outs. I already mentioned a couple people. When I mentioned the books, I just had a book arrive at my home yesterday. We're recording this on a Sunday, but one shout out I'm gonna give out to Sparks Third Coast. Hey man, I got your book. I'm autographing it, and he bought a copy of the I Kicked Out on 2 and had it sent to me directly from Amazon and wanted it autographed. And because I was out of them, I've got plenty of the Pin Me Pay Me books at the home, but anyway, he just had it, and I've had other people do this. Had it sent to my home, and I'm going to autograph it and package it up and send it out to him tomorrow. With that said, for being such a big fan of the show, what I did, and I'm not trying to make myself look good, you know, I'm a baby face anyway, but he told me he had read Pin Me Pay Me on his Kindle, and I have extra copy of those here. So what I'm going to do, since he bought the other, send him an autographed copy of Pin Me Pay Me, and both of those went out tomorrow to him. And we both just did that via a direct message, but I thought that was pretty cool because I had a guy from Louisville one time send me 5 books that arrived from Amazon. I signed them for family members for Christmas several years ago. Each individual marked for FedEx. He already paid for those. I just put them back out and sent them off to his family members. I said, dude, you could have sent the money right to my home and I'd have mailed them. And apparently he didn't have a problem with money. I was like, okay, thanks for buying my book, though. But I was trying to save him some automatic, like that's cool. So yeah, either way you want to do it, that's good. I already mentioned the booking the territory. These are the usual suspects, of course, Jeremy. I got booking the territory. Got to be with Mike and Doc, and like I said, Harper was out, but those guys have been real good to us over the years. Some other friends show, William Harding. The mullet of Morton got a hold of me. That's always fun to hear from him. You mentioned Chad earlier, Chad Fisher from West Virginia.
Yep.
An idea about getting our shit back together and motivated us. And Chad's a really cool guy. He's been down to my house a couple of times, and I've seen him at a couple of shows. And hopefully we'll get together again real soon when we get back out to some of these shows. Glenn Abbott and Troy Horton. Adam Price, can't leave him off our list. Nope. He's a good dude, man. He's always sending something to us and supporting the show. Wide Men Can't Jump, Nate, Tim, and TR. I actually did a podcast with them one Sunday evening. Well, they're good to us. I've got a couple more here. Rodney Elwood from Arkansas. I think he's a friend of yours over on Facebook, I believe. So shout out to Rodney. Joe Lara. I guess a friend that you have out there in California has been listening to the show since day one. John Lee from over Southwest England, he was listening and sending in some stuff right there before we went down. So if I left anyone off the list, it wasn't intentional. If you have anyone else to add, Jeremy, feel free to. I just know those were some that we had discussed prior to the show that deserve some shout outs. Well, we've got some regular other fans of the show too. We've already talked to some indie guys. We're going to bring them. Talk about them, let them do their little talking. One of them sent something really cool in. I thought that recording you sent me. So yeah, that's anyone else out there? Thanks, wrestling fans. Really.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit all the regular guys that that I know off the top of my head. I'm sure if I were to sit down and go through Twitter and Facebook, I could probably come up with a couple dozen more that are guys who've just been with us.
Oh, Andy. Hey, Jeff.
Oh, Jeff. Yeah.
Jeff, I can't forget Jeff Toff, man. He's got something we might be doing in the second season. He sent a little top 10 list, which we will get back to those without giving too much away. But that's going to probably be a season 2, maybe our first top 10 of season 2, because we got some really cool stuff. If you want to go ahead and tease it and share it for the next couple of episodes for season 1.
You know what, real quick here, let's go ahead and talk about how we're going to structure going forward.
Yes.
And kind of some ideas that we're kicking around. And so let's, so what we're going to do to kind of leave us some space so we don't burn out. And if other things come up, we have time to deal with everything, and we have time to prepare and plan, and we're not flying by the seat of our pants, is we're basically going to go to a 2-month on where we're going to record, 8 to 10 episodes, depending on how many weekends there are during that span. And then we're going to take a month off. But also during some of those breaks that we're off, I have another package I'm going to start putting together called Pro Wrestling 101 with the Professor. And the first season, which is going to be somewhere in the 6 to 8 episode range, we are going to discuss the World Championships starting in 1905 and basically coming up to now. The original world title, the formation of the NWA, when the WWF, AWA, ECW, all those companies split off, and I will do a quick episode about the ex-novos who were just title belts that poofed into existence one day. But I'm going to show the lineage as much as can be done in that short period of time, but the lineage all the way back to George Hackenschmidt in 1905.
Right on, man. That sounds great. As mentioned, next episode's going to be about COVID and the effects on professional wrestling and some professional wrestlers. We'll talk, and then we've got some top 5s to finish out the rest of this season, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be some good times, we hope. Like I said, that we won't burn out or anything. In the meantime, we mentioned Text earlier. He's the one that takes care of our YouTube page. So I'm going to throw this out there before we get down to here. If you go to the YouTube, we have over 8,100 subscribers. We have been seen 1.5 million views on the YouTube channel. If you go to tinyurl.com/BB video, you can go on there and like it, share it, subscribe, or whatever. There's some really cool videos that Tex did, and I'm sure Tex would be glad to get some positive messages back on some of those videos. If you haven't seen them, go visit the Bell to Bell Bobby Blaze podcast page, or visit tinyurl.com BB video. The top 10, there's managers, there's heels, there's baby faces. The most legit badasses, that's got the most views of any of them. There's some of them that's got over 200,000 views on a couple of those. It's just some really good footage. Got a shoot interview of Dan Severn, myself, Dan to be Severn, about our matches we had back in, 25 years ago now. That's been real interesting. But anyway, go down there and take a look at the YouTube page, especially if you're new to the show, man, and give us a thumbs up and like it. And like I said, subscribe to it and tell your friends and share it, and also visit us. If you haven't, it'll be active again. Visit the Bell to Bell Blaze, at Bell to Bell Blaze on Twitter. That's the joint account, although usually I sign it. Jeremy's the one that, will let me know what's going on. And I obviously retweet it and patronize it and stuff. But I'm at Bobby Blaze 744, and Jeremy's at the Geekish Cast. And hit us up there, man. I know Jeremy's got a Facebook account active. So once again, I just want to say I'll close out something after Jeremy has something to say. But I just want to say I'm thankful and I'm glad to be back, man. And it's good to hear your voice, Professor. And this is just really cool, man. Really cool.
Yeah, I am glad we are back at this. I'm hoping the way we are planning on going forward is going to work out well.
Yes.
Because we were spotty before, but again, like I said, I was a fucking mess. So, this way we at least have a program and a schedule that we follow, that, hopefully the listeners will like, hopefully it will not bother the listeners when we take a month off, but it does allow us to sit back, plan, and have an idea where we're going forward. That way we can sprinkle some more fun things in there. Cause I do miss us doing horror episodes and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was fun. I mean, I love to talk wrestling. This is my opportunity to do it. Before I wrap up, Bobby, do we want to talk about any elephants in the room before we wrap up?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Are you referencing what we spoke about very briefly yesterday?
Very briefly.
Okay. Yeah. I thought about that. I'm going to say no at this point for one reason. I want to hear a couple other sides of the story. That should be out soon. Let's just say that, okay? I thought about that this morning, writing up some notes and stuff. I'm going to hold off on that, and I think, we could deal with that next week probably.
Okay. Yeah.
And everyone probably knows what the hell we're talking about.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't want anybody to think we're pretending nothing's going on. We're quite aware of the situation. I just, I didn't want to jump into it, and I kind of feel like we probably don't know enough to fucking say anything anyways. That's
where I'm standing at right now, actually. Well, I'm waiting just another couple of days and see what happens. In fact, I've got someone I need to talk to. Got a hold of me on Twitter earlier today, so I'm looking forward to that conversation sometime next couple of days with a female friend of mine. I just want to get her perspective on a couple of things, so that might be able to add something to it as well. So, let's leave that elephant in the room. Let's leave him in the room for now.
Sure. No,
I was just going to say before we close out, I just want to, always talk about the kindness thing. World can turn on a dime, man. We found that out. If nothing else, this COVID is going on right now. The world can turn on a dime. And I'm always telling people to be kind to each other out there. And I was thinking about this morning during my walk. I choose about 4 or 5 things you can choose every day. You can choose love. You can choose kindness. You can choose just a lot of different things each day. Today, and this is the third on my list, I always do choose love, kindness, gratitude, acceptance, forgiveness. And after I finished my walk, I thought, man, today, and we're recording on Father's Day, and so happy Father's Day to everyone out there, to you too, Professor. We've already greeted each other earlier today about that.
Yep.
I chose gratitude, and I just want everyone to take the time this week to be thankful. I'm thankful that, maybe you got a roof over your head, a bed to sleep in, food to eat, water to drink, or I'm very thankful for this podcast once again, and get to talk to my friend and professor. And all you wrestling fans out there, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if nothing else for this week, with all the craziness going on in 2020 and who the fuck knows what's going to happen next. Like I said, the world can turn on a dime, but you know what? Let's today choose gratitude and be thankful for what we do have, and not what we don't have.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about. I mean, because just so much is going on. Bobby, I was thinking, and we'll have to talk about this a little bit. I might want to add, like, we could do like a book report each season, maybe split it up, do like 5 minutes about the same book each season, just to kind of cover the whole thing. Because I found a really awesome book that I am enjoying reading, written by Rock Ramsey, you can find on Twitter. He prints and produces and distributes his own books about wrestling history. And, he's got this book about Roy Shire, who was the promoter here. It's got all these great pictures from right here in my little podunk town of Andre the Giant and Roddy Piper wrestling here in Modesto, California, which that's not stuff I ever think about. Dusty Rhodes was the U.S. champion here at one point, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild. But I've been reading a lot about Ray Stevens here lately. And, man, that guy could work a microphone. And,
yeah, right on.
Yeah, and, it's got me thinking, like, I kind of miss interacting with our listeners in the internet wrestling community. And you can always tell when you're dealing with the internet wrestling community because the women are ugly and the men are stupid. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Oh,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I didn't expect that.
No, but neither did I. It's just the direction I went. Apparently, the first bit that Ray Stevens recorded for KTV YouTube was he was like the one guy ever said, I hate San Francisco. It's foggy. The women are ugly. The men are cowards, and the streets are too bumpy.
Oh, jeez, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that dude was over, man. I guess he was making some huge money back that time, too.
Yeah, apparently he was. I am enjoying the shit out of this book. I'm going to have to look at what else this guy has written, because he goes all the way back to the 1870s in pro wrestling in California.
I know he wrote the Ron Starr book.
Yeah, he did write a Ron Starr book.